So I'd like to talk about treasures. We all have a treasure box here. And the jewels of our experience, what we've collected over the years, what we've learned, what we lost, what we found. So coming and looking inside is a bit scary for many people, for me too, because sometimes you open the treasure box and it becomes a Pandora box, and you don't want to open Pandora box because within the memories there are jewels and there are some garbage that you don't want to touch. So this work that we're doing, the work with 64 beings connected to 64 hexagram, is the work with the ancient treasures, because this work has been initiated thousands of years ago, and right now it has its own morphic field, and that morphic field is the attraction field in which so many people try to translate it, think about what that means for humanity, what it means for every person who looks into hexagrams, what that wisdom makes, what kind of difference does it make within your life. And so when I work with this material, for me, it's like going on a treasure hunt, because those ancient treasures are abundant, and within every hexagram, there are layers and layers of exquisite wisdom that came from thousands of years before us, enhanced with the wisdom of the modern people who re-evaluated, re-looked, and think what it means for us today. So what we're doing right now is the look into what kind of treasure we as women can offer to society. Because usually hexagrams are looked at as in a generic sense. What I believe, I truly believe, that what we are bringing into the world right now as women, what kind of children we raise, what kind of conception we have, how conscious we are as we're being pregnant and delivering our children or our projects or our relationship, because everything is the birth within our heart. Women are setting the background, the tone for how the earth will be later on. And in ancient times, people thought about 7 generations down, 7 generations up. So if every one of us who is exploring those ancient treasures, bringing it into the modern light, and also embodying it in the modern day, everyday mundane reality, with the sanctification of that role, that we bring the vibrational environment that will create 7 generations of the human beings after us. And thinking about current lifespan is about 80-90 years, right? So it's about 500-600 years into the future. This is what we're doing today. So when I think about this, I have chills. Every poem I write about how we could be at that highest level of expression. Some of them are stories, how we suffer and how we find the solution. And every drawing you, Alexandra, make is the vibrational quality of the colors and moves. It's the way of breathing, the way of moving into life. So I invite everybody, you who's listening, who's reading, who's looking at those drawings, who's looking at our paintings, I invite you to look at that as a treasure. By the way, in the Dead Sea scrolls, one of the scrolls that were found is a copper scroll. Nobody really knows yet what is inside the scroll, but some of these things were deciphered. And so what they found were 64 strange symbols and letters. So I'm wondering, are those treasures that copper scroll is talking about are actually here within? Because I truly believe we are star seeds. We did not just come from monkeys. Of course, monkeys played a role. I'm sure there is a physical material where the stardust had to settle and create the consciousness. But if that consciousness came from those other civilizations or from our creator, which I don't really know what it is, the universe, everybody has their own idea of how we became who we are. What if those 64 treasures are not somewhere in the ancient temples? What if they actually are within? What if those rivers of light that we're exploring, moving from one side to another side, crossing those bridges, what if that is the embodiment of all that consciousness that was put into us millions of years ago, actually, because there's the book, Forbidden Archaeology, that talks about us being much more ancient than we think we are. So I'm not going to count what was there before us, because it's already in our DNA. But I want to put into your mind that idea, what you're doing today, with your vibration, with what you're reading, with what you're watching, with how you're talking, the words, the spells that you put on your children and you put on your co-workers and your friends, these are the seeds that people 500-600 years from now, and then 7 generations that come from those 7 generations will carry. That would become their treasure chest. That would become the jewel that they send into the future. So think of yourself as a seed, as a star seed, who's influencing not only what you have today, but what will become of your 7 generations.
And as we contemplate the jewels, it's so poignant to me how, as human beings, pursuit of happiness is at the very core essence of who we are. And big part of our pursuit of happiness is pursuit of prosperity. Because we don't want to live lives of survival, lives of fear, lives of stress. We are definitely seeking happy life. We are seeking vibrant life. And how do we make for prosperous life? We realize that we have jewels that we have access to, that they're not somewhere out there that we have to keep running and chasing, but recognize that the full vibrancy of those jewels is available to us. And if I stop and think about actual physical jewels, many of us don't stop to think about it, that when the precious stones come out from the ground, if you don't know, if you're not a trained geologist, you won't know it's a diamond or a ruby because it's all dirty, it's crusty. And even if you wash it off, it's still not shining. You take it to a skilled jeweler, and there are relatively few places in the world where that skill is concentrated, for the jeweler to properly polish it so that the true light within that jewel is revealed and shines when sun rays catch on those facets that the skilled jeweler creates. So this is the opportunity, is to realize, like, wait a moment, these grungy little things that we didn't think much of, once somebody tells us, wait a moment, that's a ruby, and then we pick it up and we start polishing it, and then it starts catching the light and shining and illuminating our lives, and then we recognize the prosperity that's available to us as we keep along this journey.
So what we are sharing with you is the roadmap. So every poem and every drawing is the roadmap. Where can you find that jewel? And not only where you can find it, but how you can polish it. Because sometimes you read a poem, well, that's totally not me. I can never be that. I can never be that power. I can never say what I really feel, because what will they think of me? And so as you read the poems and as you look at the drawing, we're giving you a vibrational roadmap to this other side of you where you already polished ruby and polished diamond, and your spark is alive, and that spark illuminates not only you, but 7 generations after you.